Hi everyone and welcome to our webinar. I hope you're all doing well. I'm just going to give this a minute and allow all our attendees to basically join the room. Okay, let's start then. As you all know, the time has come again for NetSuite's first half-yearly release, and this means you're going to see upgrades to its modules, enhancements for performance, and critical fixes for stability. For those of you who are new to our monthly webinars, my name is Tina, and I'm the marketing manager here. I handle all the basic marketing activities such as brand awareness, promotional campaigns, collateral, and so on. Our team has reviewed NetSuite's very in-depth release notes for 2022.1, and they've shortlisted some of the noteworthy highlights to share with you today. Now, if you would like to take a deeper dive into specific topics, you can find the release notes on Suite Answers, or you could reach out to us for assistance. A quick note to our audience, please post any questions that may come up during the course of the session in the chat box. We have a team member who is on standby to respond. All right. Before we begin, a quick overview of our company. We were founded in 2007 as Twarna, and we've been providing support, managed services, integration services for NetSuite, Boomi, and Salesforce clients worldwide. You also might be aware that we go by two names, which is Twarna and 79 Consulting. 79 Consulting is our global brand, whereas Twarna is India-facing. To extend NetSuite's platform functionalities, we have also developed a number of Suite apps, which you can find on suiteapp.com using the search term Twarna. Now on to our panel introductions. Eric, as you see here, has over 9 years of experience on NetSuite, primarily focused on manufacturing and inventory distribution environments. Eric's direct industry experience helps him to address customers' unique requirements. Next, we have Navina, who handles projects for 79 Consulting. She's responsible for client communication, requirement gathering, and project implementation using native NetSuite features or customizations. Next up is Uday. Uday is our project manager with over 15 years of experience in software development, and he leads our scripting practice. And finally, we have Nitesh, who will be covering updates to our range of Suite apps. Nitesh has been with us since 2017 and is responsible for building, customizing, and managing Suite apps, as well as for the product roadmap. Nitesh additionally works with customers on any ad hoc requests. Now, before we jump into all the actual updates, let's start with the basics, and Uday is going to be covering this. I would like to pose a question to you, Uday. What is the purpose of NetSuite's releases, and how can our audience prepare for them?
Sure. Thanks for the intro, Tina. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So, Tina, NetSuite rolls out major updates to its platform twice a year. These updates are called releases, and they affect NetSuite's entire customer base. So NetSuite uses these releases to introduce new features and enhancements, and they also use these releases to deprecate legacy features. So all of this means that aspects of your NetSuite account could change significantly with a new release, and you must be prepared for the changes before they are released. So let us quickly talk about NetSuite's upgrade schedule. NetSuite upgrades its customer base in several batches, and so an upgrade window can last for over a month. You can find your account's planned upgrade date from the new release portlet on the home screen after logging into NetSuite. If you don't see the new release portlet on your home page, you can add it by clicking on the personalized dropdown and selecting the new release option. Also, for those wondering if one can opt out of a release, this is possible if you are on a dedicated NetSuite server, which is usually for very large enterprise customers. Okay. So moving on, you should also know that NetSuite provides a release preview account, which is a copy of your production account on the soon to be released version. So this is a free account that customers can use to test their existing business flows and customizations before the next release. In order to access a release preview account, you should first need to opt in. So if you are an administrator, you can request for a release preview account by navigating to setup company and release preview on your production account, and then by clicking the request release preview button. So the opt-in window for 2022.1 release is currently open. So you or your NetSuite administrators can request for the release preview account. Now, let's talk a little about preparing for a new release. So once you know your upgrade date and the availability of the release preview account, it is important to be informed on what new features are planned in the new release and which of these features could impact your NetSuite account. So a good place to start is NetSuite Sneak Peek, which is a page that lists the highlights of the new release broken down by industry and vertical. If there are features you would like to learn more about, you can read through NetSuite's full release notes, which are available well ahead of a new release. The next thing to do is prepare a testing plan. The aim here should be to have your NetSuite users test your key business flows and ensure that everything is working as expected on the newer version. So we recommend that you test the following areas as a starting point. You will have to go through and ensure your business workflows are still intact. Verify the custom reports, queries, and forms. For sure, verify all your suite scripts and customizations that have been developed with the previous version. Make sure they're all still intact with the newer release. Verify any SOAP web service integrations that are in place. Also, make sure all your installed suite apps or bundles, they're all working as expected on the newer version. And then your suite commerce site should also be thoroughly reviewed. Any external integration that is in place should also be reviewed just to ensure that there is no impact because of the new release. So Twarna provides all of these services, and you can reach out to us in case you need help with any of these above services. We'll also email a link to NetSuite's testing plan after this webinar. We can also provide both manual and automated QA services and specialize in NetSuite release preview testing. In addition, if you are subscribed to any of our apps, we have validated them and they're ready to be used with the new 2022.1 release. So please reach out to us if you want us to upgrade them for you.
Okay, thank you Uday for that introduction. Let's take a brief moment to ask our audience a poll question, and we just take a couple of seconds here. You should see the poll popping up on your screen right now. Okay, and we are going to go over to Navina, who will be talking about some of our platform updates.
Thank you, Tina. Now let's go through NetSuite's features for the 2022.1 release. Let's start with order management. In 2022.1, we have order management enhancements for two suite apps, which are electronic bank payment enhancements and pack station enhancements. So now let's talk about electronic bank payments to begin with. So NetSuite Electronic Bank Payment Suite app enables you to process bank payments of vendor bills, employee expenses, partner and employee commissions, customer refunds, as well as receive bank payments from customers. EBP extends the processing capabilities of electronic fund transfers. Features such as terms, early payment discounts, and credit application are supported by EBP that are not supported by electronic funds transfer. NetSuite 2022.1 includes the following enhancements to this EBP Suite app. First one is bulk update of payment batches. You can now add information directly in the EFT file reference note and aggregate by payee columns on the open subtab of the payment batch list. Next is exclude transactions from electronic payments processes. You can exclude any invoice and credit memo from electronics payments processing by checking the exclude from electronic bank payments processing box. This box is available on invoices, credit memos, and sales orders records as well. Next is process payments for vendors from primary and secondary banks. Starting 2022.1, you can process payments using primary or secondary entity banks. A new entity bank list is added on the EFT subtab for the following transaction types: bills, bill credit, bill payment, bill commission, and expense report. This suite app also includes a new EFT Global bill payment processing page. On this page, you can submit payment files for processing transactions with an entity bank at transaction level. The following transactions will not be processed on the EFT Global bill payment processing page. Transactions where an entity bank is not specified, these transactions are processed from the bill payment processing page. Transactions where an inactive entity bank is selected, the inactive entity bank remains selected on the transaction, but the transaction will not be processed by Suite app. Next is process transactions for logged posting period. You can post transactions or process payments in a logged posting period only if the override period restrictions permission is enabled for your account. If the override period restrictions permission is not enabled in your account, then the locking period posting is restricted for the following payment processes: bill payment processing or invoice payment processing, payment reversals, rollback and reprocesses, batch process, and finally EP API. And now let's discuss about Pack Station enhancements as part of order management, which is a touchscreen mobile solution designed for businesses who need to consolidate shipments, pack multiple cartons at the same time, coordinate multi-level packing, pack pallets, and scan weights from scales. In order to use this Pack Station app, you will need to use this SCM mobile and the Pack Station Suite apps installed. WMS users have access to the Pack Station app. This upgrade of NetSuite will see the following enhancements to Packstation: bulk packing of items that ship as is. For items that ship as is or ship individually, you can now specify the number of items you want to pack. Packstation automatically adds a pack carton for each item quantity. If you predefine your pack carton details, it also closes the pack cartons that it adds. Change the weight unit. When you pack items, you can now change the unit of a pack carton's weight. By default, the Packstation will use the unit defined on the item record. But with this new enhancement, the user at the time of packing can assign a different unit of weight to be used for that carton. And now let's discuss about coastal ACH deprecation. You may be wondering what that means, right? So, Coastal ACH authorizes the transfer of funds through the ACH network for electronic funds transfer and ACH vendor payment transactions. Coastal ACH has a deprecation date of May 2022. Payments will no longer be transmitted to your vendors or processed from your customers, even if the process appears successful. Depending upon your requirements, consider the following replacements: accounts receivable, payment acceptance. We can use payment link, which allows the recipient to pay each invoice individually. It is supported by both ACH and credit card payments. Suite Commerce My Account Overview, full featured account view for your customers. Various payment methods are supported in this one. Next is accounts payable, outbound ACH payments. Let's consider using the electronic bank payments for this option. If you want any assistance with this implementation, please reach out to us using our contact information shown at the end of this webinar. Okay, now moving on to CSV imports, which is the most commonly used method for transferring small to medium sized datasets from other applications into NetSuite. The CSV import process saves time and prevents errors by submitting data in a CSV file. This data can add or update many records at one time, avoiding the need for manual data entry. NetSuite 2022.1 has a new record type which will be supported for CSV imports, which is the employee expense record. You just have to select the record type as imported employee expense in the setup, imported export, and import CSV records navigation. And this is a newly exposed feature. That's about it from me, Tina. Eric will now take over to talk about changes to inventory and warehouse management. Eric?
Thank you, Navina. Now let me start today with the inventory and supply allocation pop-up window. So the allocated demand and allocated supply pop-up windows are now available on the supply chain module. This is very similar to the previous inventory availability page, but instead allows the user to remain on the transaction instead of navigating to a new page to review the supply demand details for a specific item. The updated features include on supply order lines, such as purchase orders, transfer orders, or work orders, the allocated demand figure links to a pop-up window. This pop-up window displays the details of each allocated demand order. Allocated demand order lines can be sales orders, transfer orders, or reservations, and/or work orders. When an organization experiences shortages, demand orders are delayed. The allocated supply pop-up window displays where the inventory or supply is missing or delayed. Also, this pop-up window displays where supply order or inventory is allocated and which demand orders are affected. The NetSuite 2022.1 includes the following enhancements to your inventory management features as well: supply chain control tower enhancements, warehouse management enhancements, and the SCM mobile enhancements. We're going to start with supply chain control tower enhancements. So NetSuite has developed its own supply chain control tower feature all the way back in 2018.1. It provides enhanced visibility into demand, supply, and inventory balances through the defined planning horizon. This enhancement's true power is the ability to assimilate future demand and supply requirements by analyzing the inventory impact of current and past due transactions, including work order component demand and assembly supply, planned work orders, and sales orders pending approval. NetSuite 2022.1 also includes the following updates to the supply chain control tower vendor performance feature. With this feature, you can view vendor performance history, save search enhancements, and vendor delivery performance scores. But next up, we have warehouse management enhancements. Within the new 2022.1 release, the warehouse management enhancements include, first off, scheduled release of multiple waves. This is a pretty big feature for all those waving orders through the WMS system. The WMS wave release schedule page contains a new list of fields for releasing these multiple waves. When you generate multiple waves, if you check this box, you can generate up to 500 waves for each scheduled release. When the box is checked, your wave order limit must always be greater than 1. Wave release limit. In this field, you can enter the maximum number of waves that you want to generate for each scheduled release. You can enter anywhere between 1 to 500. The next update is zone picking for single and multiple orders. In the 2022.1 update, NetSuite provides the following updated system rules to the WMS engine. Enabled zone picking for single orders. This means it now supports the pick and merge picking type for single orders. It includes the settings to require staging of all items from an order in the same bin. Next is enable zone picking for multiple orders. Similarly, it supports the pick and merge picking type for multiple orders. In the setting, it contains the ability to stage items per order. It also includes the setting to require staging of all items from an order in the same bin. Next update is the pick carton reuse. If you activate a use cartons rule, you can use and reuse pick cartons for orders that you process on your mobile device. To reuse, you must pack all of the items in the pick carton first. The fulfillment records associated with these items must be in a packed status. For more information, you can look at Suite Answers or help topics on picking orders and or system rules for NetSuite WMS. The next feature update is Load All option to transfer staged items into a cart. You can activate the Enable Bulk Loading rule into staging carts to transfer multiple items for put away into a cart. On your mobile device, you can select a process up to 10 items at a time. Next, we have item label printing on search inventory. On your mobile device, you can search for items and print item labels. For numbered items, you can print labels with lot or serial numbers. There's also an update to tally scanning. This is a long time awaited feature for many of us. You now have tally scanning capabilities on bin put away, bin transfer, inventory transfer, cycle count, and returns. When you activate the Enable Tally Scan System rule, make sure you select the supported process in the Apply Rule to field. You can tally scan the item name, item alias, and UPC of an item barcode. If you also activate the Enable Advanced Barcode Scanning System rule, you can tally scan the supported GS1 formats for item barcodes. For more information on this topic, you can look at the system rules for NetSuite WMS and then search for Tally Scan. Next, we have the SCM Mobile Enhancements section. So, quick note that SCM Mobile is shared with all the following NetSuite features and Suite apps. So SCM Mobile is capable on warehouse management, manufacturing mobile, and pack station. Of course, along with being required with WMS users. Within the SCM Mobile, you now have the ability to add columns to a table, enhance navigation for pop-up windows, and update to printer type options. It's a nice update there. Automatically submit default values as well. Next, we're going to jump over to Suite Analytics. There are some, again, every release we're getting fantastic updates to this feature. In 2022.1, you guessed it, no change there. We're getting some pretty good enhancements. The biggest one in my mind here is namely the data set linking in the workbook UI. So you can now link two data sets in the workbook UI. Linking data sets allows you to analyze metrics from two data sets in a single visualization based on a link that you define using at least one field in each data set. You can link data sets even if they are based on record types that do not have predefined common keys in the analytics data source, unlike when you join record types in a data set. Additionally, with linked data sets, you can compare data that exists on two different levels of aggregation, like the sum of individual transactions versus a monthly budget. Now, previously, you were only able to build a single data set as a table, and then you could run your comparisons and calculations and pivots and charts, and it would be a data set with linked transactions. Now you're able to actually build two entirely different data sets with a single common key and run your analysis against both of them. To create a link, you must define at least one set of common keys between two data sets. Common keys are fields that contain the same types of data, such as the sales rep field and the sales invoiced and transaction record types. When you create a link, it's recommended common keys are highlighted in blue and automatically defined based on the data sets you choose. You can also define your own common keys using fields from either data set with some caveats. For more information on how to create and use these linked data sets, you can always search in the help menu or the Suite answers articles for Suite Analytics Workbook, and then look for data set linking. And that's it for me today. I hope everybody enjoyed our coverage.
Thanks so much, Eric. Now we're going to move on to the next section of our webinar, which covers Suite Talk and other technical components of NetSuite. And our expert Uday will be back to walk you through this.
Yeah, thanks, Tina. So we don't have too many key updates or changes with the 2022.1 release. There's a couple of points that we need to take note of, though, with the Suite Talk Web Services integration. So we have a list of record types that are now fully supported as part of 2022.1 release. And these record types include assembly item, credit memo, partners, vendor, and vendor bill. Except for fully supported records, all records listed in the REST API browsers are available as beta records in REST Web Services. And then finally, the asynchronous request execution is now generally available. The asynchronous execution of requests is basically useful for any long running requests. So with asynchronous requests, when users send a request to the web services, it is placed in a processing queue and handled asynchronously along with the other requests. Moving on, we also have a couple of points regarding the SOAP web services. So SOAP web services version 2022.1 is not yet available, but it should be available shortly. And the Araxis merge diff file highlights also, it basically highlights the schema changes between 2022.1 and the previous release. So this merge diff file is also not yet available, which should also be available shortly.
Great, thank you, Uday. And before we move on to our final section, which is updates to our Suite apps, I'm just going to stop for one last poll. And you should see it come up on your screen right about now. Please take a second to answer. Okay, Nitesh, who's leading our product development, is going to handle this section. Over to you, Nitesh.
Hey, Tina, thank you. So we can first talk about our storage Suite app, SkyDoc, and the updates for this time. So SkyDoc, one of our most popular products, is a document management solution built on top of NetSuite. It harnesses the capabilities of Amazon S3 to offer scalable, affordable, and secure file storage with no limits. With Amazon's expanded storage capabilities, there's no running out of space and you only pay for what you use. So SkyDoc's interface seamlessly integrates into NetSuite, making all files related to a record available in a single tab. Apart from this, SkyDoc's user-friendly portal allows for collaboration with users outside of NetSuite ecosystem to approve or reject and share documents securely. So let's take a look at the updates. So starting with our first update, we have an integration with DocuSign. So it makes SkyDoc's documents available to be used with DocuSign and stored back on SkyDoc once the documents are signed off with DocuSign. So if a user is having DocuSign installed into their NetSuite, so what they can do is just go to a record and then to the SkyDoc section, select a file which they want to use with DocuSign and just click on DocuSign. So it makes the file available to be used with DocuSign. And once that file gets signed off, so it's automatically stored inside of SkyDoc. So now let's talk about our next feature, which is a QR scanner. Now you can scan documents from any handheld device and upload to SkyDoc without needing to log in inside of NetSuite. So with use of this feature, we can just upload any documents even outside of NetSuite. So it means like we have so many instances when the user is using SkyDoc on their PC and they have something to be uploaded which is not on the PC and they just want to take a snap of that from their phone and want to upload. So if you want to follow a normal process, you have to take a snap, upload to your PC, then move it to Skydoc. But with this, just go to Skydoc section, click on the QR scanner. It will pop up a QR code. Just use your smart device to scan that QR code and you would see a screen before you. Just use the camera, take a snap, and choose to select it as an image or a PDF. And that scanned document just gets attached to the record from where you have scanned the QR code. So it's as simple as that. So moving on to our next and last update of Skydoc is now Skydoc portal suggests random passwords while providing access to the users. So as we have on all different platforms where we have to give access to a certain portal, it might suggest you a random password. So we have added this one as well to our product. So it suggests a strong password. If a user wants to use them, they could use them or they could enter their own passwords. So that covers all the updates that we have this time for Skydoc. So moving on to our next product, we have bulk email invoices or BEI. So BEI is our application which offers solution for automating dunning. Built on NetSuite's platform, BEI is designed to make your invoicing and collections process a breeze. The app allows you to generate bulk transaction emails with multiple invoice attachments using customizable email templates, which could be triggered either manually or it could be even automated to send out at your desired frequency. The user could even use custom filters for filtering out their invoices, such as class, date, location, and more. So let's see the things that we have in 2022 updates for BEI. So starting with the first one, now BEI supports sales rep filter on the BEI screen. So with help of that, the user could just filter out the transactions based on sales rep filter. So we may have some cases where the sales rep have been assigned the access to BEI and they want to send invoices only for their customers. So they could just add their names on the filter section and they could see only those transactions which are meant for them. So moving on to the next one, we have now an option where all the child customers could be viewed by selecting a parent customer on the customer field. So this helps you to see an entire hierarchy of all the customers along with their transactions. So if you have an hierarchy system which you follow inside your account where you have child customers and you have the parent for those customers, you can see all of their transactions in a single screen by just choosing the checkbox show parent invoices. So that completes our list of features that we offer now for BEI. So moving on to the next one, our next product is inventory count. So about inventory count, it makes cycle counting inside of NetSuite easy. Inventory count bundles are features that helps users to sync their physical warehouse to inventory on NetSuite and perform a regular warehouse counts and post inventory adjustments and record them in NetSuite, all while optimizing on time and effort. This app also comes with a barcode scanner integration that allows you to scan inventory in real time. To add item with inventory count suite app, simply scan item, add serial number, and select the location and bin number. And that's how you can complete the scanning of an item or counting of an item. So moving to our features that we have added in this release. So we have one of our most exciting features. We have built a responsive item scanning utility with an built-in barcode scanner. The tool could be used on any handheld device with a camera. It supports decoding of both 1D and 2D barcodes. The supported barcodes in single dimension is like we have UPA E and E, we have EAN codes, we have EAN 13 and EAN 8 codes which are supported. We have code 39, code 93, code 128, and ITF. If you look at the 2D formats which are supported, we have code bar, then we have RSS 14, we support RSS expanded as well, QR code, data matrix, STEC, PDF 417, and MaxiCode. So it brings in a simple process. So once the user logs in inside of NetSuite, just go to the specific item scanning section under inventory count, and it opens up a screen which starts with a location selector. Just select a location, select a bin for that location, and start scanning the item. So once you say scan, the tool starts using the device's camera. It tries to recognize the barcodes or a QR code, and it fetches back the information of the scanned item. Once the item has been scanned, we could enter the quantity. Similarly, we even support scanning of serialized items and even the lot numbered items. So with this, the entire inventory count could be performed very easily inside of NetSuite itself. So with that, let's move to a second update on inventory count. So now you can use NetSuite's native inventory next count date and frequency fields on location for inventory configuration to send out notifications. This even supports the advanced item location configuration. So with this feature, you have a single interface where you could configure all the item along with their location, when they should be counted, and what should be the frequency of the count. So say if I want a specific notification of some set of items which are required to be counted after a month, so we could just configure the next count date along with the frequency, and we have a backend job which runs every day, and it sends out an email to a configured list of recipients for all those items which matches the count date on the current day. So it makes it easy to remember which items are required to be counted when, and it makes the entire process easy. So with that, let me talk about our next upgrade on inventory count. So now we have built a simplified item worksheet. For those who use worksheets to perform the inventory count, this will allow you to create bin, non-bin worksheet from a single interface. Now we could filter out by different classifications on a single screen. We could either export the worksheet based on our filters, or we could also send the worksheet to the required recipients. So you may have certain people in a company who are responsible for the item count. So just filter out the worksheet as per your need and just send them from this single interface. It's not required to export, save, and again email it to different users. Just filter out your results and choose the recipients and send it out to all the people who should be using them. So this completes our list of features which we have added in this release on inventory count. So finally, we have Portals Pro. So as we know, Portals Pro is a single unified platform with one portal for vendor, customer, and employees. It is a secure web-based self-service solution which users can access to submit invoices, initiate payments, resolve disputes, and engage and communicate with their teams. With Employee Portal, the HR teams can rely to keep the employees engaged and motivated, even when remote. While employees can quickly log in to view their profiles, get the company updates, enter expenses, apply for leaves, and managers could approve the leaves at the same time, check their holiday calendars, etc. We also have the vendor portal here. So the vendor portal could be used by the vendors or the contractors, and they can quickly be onboarded while maintaining the necessary compliance. And with the customers could just save on their time with the convenient e-payment feature and review their previous transactions. So in this release, we will be covering updates to the vendor portal. So let me start with the first update that we have on the vendor portal. So now we support creation of vendor bill using the OCR technology. So vendors could now just upload the bills to the vendor portal or send out the bills to a NetSuite generated email address. So the uploaded bills contents are extracted using an AI powered OCR tool, and the bill is created inside of NetSuite. So with this, it reduces all the manual effort of the accounting folks to look at the bills from the vendors and create those bills manually inside of NetSuite. It even makes the vendors' life easy because they get the instant results on the portal. They just upload the bill on the portal and they can see the bill in the bill section on the portal. The vendors who don't use the vendor portal, they could still send in their bills via email. We have an email listener which extracts the attachments of those emails and it extracts the contents of the bills in the emails attachment and it follows the same process again of creating the vendor bill. So it might prove to be a very efficient feature on the vendor portal as well as on the entire cycle of the vendor management. So moving on to our next one, we have added the vendor profile section on the vendor portal. So vendors can now update their details on the profile, including their address, contact details, bank details from portal, as well as they can track their progress of their requests at the same time. So now on the vendor portal, we have a new section called as vendor profile, which is a single space solution for all the information like the personal details, the address details, the contacts, and the bank details. So now the vendors could see all the information on a single screen. If it's required, they could also make a request to update something. So say for example, the vendor wants to add a new address. So they could just go the address section of the profile page and they could either choose to add a new address or to update an existing one. So it sends out a request to the AP team and they are the one who can approve it. So until it's under the approval, the vendors could still track their requests. So we have different colors to show the specific approval status of the request that has been made. So it makes the process seamless. The vendors know the request has been made. It goes back inside of NetSuite, it gets approved, and it comes back on the portal, and it's again visible on the portal on the vendor's profile section. So on this one, apart from normal details like address or contacts, we even have bank information details. So now the vendors could even update or add their bank details using the vendor portal. So this actually works on top of NetSuite's EFT module. So the vendor could just come in, select their country of operation, and choose the required payment file format, and they could just fill it out the details. Once that is completed, it again goes back to the AP team inside of NetSuite, and once it's approved, it's saved on the vendor record. So this completes an end-to-end process where we can see how vendors could make a request to update their profile, their bank details, and how the approval mechanism works in hand-to-hand. So we even have a dashboard here inside of NetSuite, which shows the payment profile update data. So someone from AP team can have access to this. They see all the requests that has been made by the vendors. We have certain attributes here which covers request type and for which record this request has been made for. So with this, I complete all the features that we even have for the Portals Pro. And this covers all the features that we have in this release. And that's it from me, Tina.
Thanks so much, Nitesh, and thank you to everybody in our audience for taking time out of their day to join us. Just a reminder, Twarna specializes in offering 2022.1 release testing services to ensure that your transition is smooth. So if you need an expert QA team or any further information on this release, please reach out to us or any of our panel members here using the contact information in front of you. And until next session, goodbye.